Good evening. It's Tuesday, February 7th, 2023, and I want to welcome you to tonight's City Council meeting, Columbus, Wisconsin. City Clerk Pat Gable will now take the roll.
Albright. Present. Arnold.
Present.
Gray.
Present.
Motive.
Present.
Reed.
Here.
Rolke.
Present.
Steiner.
Here.
All present.
So if you're able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight's meeting has been noticed in accordance with state statutes and local ordinances, and I am now looking for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Alder Gray moves to approve the agenda.
Alder Motive will second.
So it's been moved and seconded to approve tonight's agenda. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No one has signed up to speak tonight, so we will move on to the consent agenda. I'm looking for a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Alder Steiner will move to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Gray seconds.
So it has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. So the first item tonight under new business is to consider and take action on bids for the Folsom Street reconstruction project. I know Jason, yeah, there you are, Jason. Jason's here. Do you want to just give us a quick rundown?
Thank you, Mayor. The attached information in your packet is for the 2023 Folsom Street and utility construction project. We set out to design this last year. We bid it early, which we were hopeful we would get good pricing. And the results came back. We had quite a bit of interest from contractors, which was great to see. The bid environment wasn't real good last year. If you guys remember, a few of the projects we had weren't favorable outcomes, but this one did turn out to be pretty good. We did have 6 bidders: Paczynski Construction, Forest Landscaping, Woods Sewer and Excavating, Copeland and Keenis, Wandra Construction, and Fisher Excavating. Of those, the low bidder was Paczynski, which we're recommending award of the contract to. Their amount was $548,713.23. There also is a supplemental unit price on this for rock excavation, although we're not anticipating that we put that in just in the event that we do encounter rock. We want to have a secured unit price with them. And you can obviously see for the rock excavation, they were the lowest contractor too, which kind of made this easy. The estimate that we had provided just in reference for this project was $702,000. That was the final estimate after design going into this bid. And as you can tell, then $702,000 was kind of on the high end of the range of bids. So again, very competitive, and we're very happy. As far as the contractor itself, Paczynski is local to Beaver Dam. Paczynski has done work in the city before, not as a prime contractor, but as a subcontractor since I've been here. They specialize in concrete, but they also have subcontractor capabilities that they team up with to do underground work. So they're more than capable of doing this size of project and type of project. So with that, we are recommending award of the project tonight based on the results and also the reference or the capability of the contractor. So any questions from anybody on the bids?
Anybody have any questions? No, thank you very much. I appreciate the information.
Yeah, I think just 2 notes. Obviously, we're still working on the schedule. As soon as we get action on the award tonight, we'll secure that. We'll get residents noticed as to when we anticipate on that starting. We also have used the information out of the bids to update the special assessments, which have been going out or have gone out to residents, and there will be a forthcoming public hearing as well for us to consider the preliminary report. So that's all kind of based on this as well tonight. So this will kind of trigger a few other things. So
Okay, thank you very much.
thank you.
And so I am looking for a motion to approve the bid that has been put forth by Paczynski Construction Company in Beaver Dam.
Alder Gray moves to award the Folsom Street reconstruction project to Paczynski Construction Incorporated for the amount of $548,713.23 with a supplemental for rock excavation of $10,000.
Aldermotive will second that motion.
So it has been moved and seconded that we approve the bid, as noted, to Paczynski Construction. Is there any discussion? So we will take, we'll take a roll call on this. Yes.
Gray,
Aye.
Motive,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Rolke.
Aye.
Steiner. Albright.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great. So now we'll move on to number 2, which is to consider and take action on the Plan Commission recommendation for the conditional use permit for a motor vehicle, well, a car wash at 204 Dick Street, which is part of Quick Trip. And the action that we are taking is for the conditional use permit. And the certified map, that's the next one. So we're taking action on the conditional use permit for the car wash. So I'm looking, unless anybody has any questions on this, we've had quite a bit of information on it. I know Brandon is here if anybody wants to ask anything in particular. And if not, then I am looking for a motion to take action on the Planning Commission recommendation.
Alder Steiner will move to approve the conditional use permit for Quick Trip's car wash.
Alder Albright will second that.
So it's been moved and seconded that we approve the Plan Commission recommendation for the conditional use permit for the car wash at 204 Dick Street. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Is anyone opposed? Okay. Now we'll move on to number 3, which is to consider and take action on the Plan Commission recommendation for the certified survey map for the Quick Trip parcels 1111-.022 and 1111.040. So I'm looking for, unless anybody has any questions on this recommendation from the Plan Commission. Are there any questions? Okay, then I'm looking for a motion to approve the recommendation for the certified survey map for Quick Trip.
Aldermotive will make a motion to approve the certified survey map for Quick Trip parcels 111.022 and 111.040.
Alder Rolke will second.
So it's been moved and seconded that we approve the the recommendation for the certified survey map. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, now we are going to move on to number 3, which is to approve the stipend policy for the part-time fire chief. This was something that was discussed in the Committee of the Whole, and this is just the final step in the approval. So I am looking for a motion to approve the stipend policy for the part-time fire chief.
Alder Gray moves to approve the stipend policy for the fire chief.
Aldermotive will second.
So it's been moved and seconded that we approve the stipend policy for the part-time fire chief. Is there any discussion? Okay. I believe we'll do a roll call on this one also.
Gray,
Aye.
Motive,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Rolke.
Aye.
Steiner.
Aye.
Albright.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great. Now moving on to number 5, we are considering changing the date of our February 21st City Council meeting because it's also Election Day, and it would be much easier for our city clerk, Pat, if we met the night before, on February 20th, a Monday night. And the same applies in April. April 4th is our regular council meeting night. It's also the spring election, so we are proposing that we meet on April 3rd, the Monday, the day before election. So I am looking for a motion to make these changes.
Alder Rolke will move that we change the February 21st meeting to February 20th and the April 4th meeting to April 3rd.
Reed seconds.
So it's been moved and seconded that we change the February 21st and April 4th council meetings to the Monday before each night. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, motion carries. We're down now to item number 6, which is to consider and take action on claims in the amount of $1,223,147.27. So I am looking for a motion to approve. the
Alder
claims.
Albright can make a motion to take action on the claims in the amount of $1,223,147.27.
Alder Gray will second and clarify that we are moving to approve the claims in the amount of $1,223,147.27.
So it's been moved and seconded that we approve the claims in the amount specified. Is there any discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll call on this also.
Motiv. Reed.
Aye.
Rolke.
Aye.
Steiner. Albright.
Aye.
Gray.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And now we are down to number 7, report of city officers. So City Administrator Kyle Ellefson will go first.
All right, thank you. A few items. Snow coming Wednesday into Thursday, it looks like. I think there's a storm watch that was issued. So we're looking at the amount, and it looks like it may trigger the snow emergency language in the ordinance. We're going to look at the updates tomorrow and then look for some updates on the website and the blasts that will issue, and that would then again trigger some parking restrictions. We've been working on timing those to make sure that there's the least disruption possible, but just stay tuned, and as the weather changes, we're kind of trying to make sure that we're hitting that balance between making sure the plow drivers have the ability to operate and clear the streets fully, but make the least amount of impact on the residents. Last week, I was able to attend the Governor's Conference on Economic Development. That was interesting. I think Shelley was also there one of the days. I got some contacts from WEDC, the university, other economic development staff. They had some good good topics, on historic tax credits, housing in the small communities, and working with limited resources. And Wisconsin Economic Development Association also had some information on economic development training that they offer for city councils and elected bodies that might be something that we want to look at in the future as we look at the training that we go through annually, something that might be interesting. So that had a lot of good information, should be useful as I move forward. Moving on, the interviews for deputy clerk, we're going to be interviewing for that position starting this week. And then I also wanted to remind people, I know we had rain overnight, but last week was bitterly cold. And during those periods of extreme cold, we do have a warming center. It's one of those things you don't always think of, but is a service that the city offers. So in the event that you need those kind of services, or you know of someone that for whatever reason, it could be a mechanical failure or any other reason, has a need for a warm place to be during those bitterly cold periods, that's something that the city of Columbus has. And it's not something you find everywhere, but certainly something you can access if you need it. And that's coordinated by our Director of Emergency Management. So certainly reach out if you need any of that assistance, but another great thing that we offer. And that's all I have.
Great, thanks very much. And as Kyle mentioned, last Friday, we bid farewell to our deputy clerk, Jane Foodie, who's now working in Fox Lake. And we want to wish her all the best and let her know that We'll miss her here in Columbus. A couple of updates, information about programs. Amy Jo Myers from the Rec Department wanted to let people know that if they're interested in working at the pool this summer, they are accepting applications both for lifeguards and for what they call ACS workers, admissions concessions and slide attendants. The deadline is April 1st to apply. And if you're interested in becoming a lifeguard, you do have to take a course, and you can get the information about how you go about doing that from Amy Jo. Just give her a call and she'll fill you in. There's also a vacancy right now on the city's recreation committee. And if anybody is interested in this vacancy, you can go to the mayor's page on the city website. There's a link to all the different, to an application for all the different committees, boards, commissions, and just fill that out and it'll be sent to me. There's also, by the way, a vacancy on the Tourism Commission for any resident who might be interested in serving on that. Just want to remind everybody that the building formerly known as the Senior Center is now the Community Center. Director Kim Lang would like the community to know that they're having a Valentine's spaghetti luncheon on Wednesday, February 14th. And the cost is $5, which includes lunch, music, and a chance to taste various cherry-flavored items. So you have to reserve your space. It's not just a walk-in. You have to reserve your space by February 10th so they know yes?
Is that Wednesday the 15th or Tuesday the 14th?
Oh, is the 14th on a Tuesday?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. You're right, because today's the 7th. Thank you for clarifying. If you go Wednesday, you'll be a day late and you won't get any spaghetti. So make sure it is Tuesday. And again, you need to let Kim know by this Friday, which I believe is the 10th, but let me double check. Yes, it is. To reserve your meal in advance. The Columbus Library is sponsoring a midwinter medieval family fun day this Saturday from 10 to 2. So you can step back in time to the days of princesses, kings, queens, knights, castles, and dragons. It's a drop-in event. It's from 10 to 2, so you can go anytime. It is going to be held in the community center, which is the building which was formerly known as the Senior Center. And just want to remind everybody that our next council meeting will be, as we decided tonight, Monday, February 20th. And so we will see you then, and that's it for me. And so now I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Alder Motif will make a motion to adjourn.
Alder Steiner will second.
So it's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Let's see here. It's a little bit before 7. Anybody want a break, or do you want to just go and
Just go grab my packet. It's very late.
So if you're going to do that, I'm going to go get a drink.
All right, we'll take a brief break. We'll be back by 6:55. All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Columbus Common Council Committee of the Whole. Today is Tuesday, February 7th. I have 6:50 p.m. And with that, if our clerk, Pat Gable, could take a roll call.
Albright,
Present.
Arnold,
Present.
Gray,
Present?
Motive,
Present.
Reed,
Here.
Rolke,
Present.
Steiner.
Here.
All present.
Thank you very much. This meeting was properly noticed, so next up on the agenda is to approve the agenda. If I have no alterations or comments, I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve tonight's agenda.
Alder Rolke will second.
I have a motion from Mayor Arnold and a second from Alder Rolke. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Moving right along is citizen comments. We don't have anyone signed up. Was there anyone that didn't get a chance to sign up that wanted to speak tonight? All right, seeing none. Next up is item number 5, the committee and commission minutes. In your packets, you'll find the minutes from the CUC, the CHLPC, the library, plan commission, senior citizens, and the tourism board. Any comments or concerns on any of them? All right, seeing none. Then next up is item number 6, to discuss the donation for the police body cameras. We have Chief Weiner here with us tonight.
Okay. There's 2 lit up, so I'm hoping I'm going where I should be. Good evening. This will be real short and sweet. Ever since I can remember, our department, over the 4th of July days that are celebrated here, we have extra people on. We change schedules. We tell people when we hire them that if you ever have some annual vacations planned for 4th of July week or something, the days around the 4th and the festivities here are mandatory work days for everybody. We put in extra hours, we change the schedule, we put people at the park, we put a little people extra on patrol. I'm usually working it in the evenings. So along with that, and we enjoy it. It's good community time, we get to see a lot of people. I was contacted a few weeks ago by the 4th of July committee, and they had met and wanted to make a donation to the Columbus Police Department, specifically towards our body camera program, in the amount of $1,000. So what that would be, and they expressed that they specifically wanted it to go to the body cameras. They didn't want it to go somewhere else and just vaporize into anything, which is fine. So what we would do is, we haven't paid any bills yet. They're starting to come in for the body cameras. It would go into the budget line item that we're paying all the bills out of and would be absorbed through that process. So all I'm seeking is permission to accept the $1,000 from the 4th of July committee. And on a side note, just a minor update on the body cameras. The server was installed last week here at City Hall. We have all the hardware at the police department. The only glitch is going to be the vendor of the body camera company is scheduling about 60 days out, because everybody's getting him and he is so busy, and he travels here from Illinois. So I was told today we're looking at 45 to 60 days. So I'm hoping in the next 60 days we'll be up and running. The policy's been written. Like I said, everything's sitting at the PD waiting, so we're excited about it.
Thank you very much, Chief. Did anyone have any questions or anything for Chief? Awesome. Thank you so much for
All right, thank
taking
you.
time for us tonight. I assume everyone is okay moving forward with the donation? Awesome. Thank you so much. Then next up on the agenda is to discuss the stormwater utility ordinance update. So this is actually something that I wanted to bring forward to all of you. So right now, the stormwater utility would be managed under the Utility Commission. I personally don't believe that's appropriate yet, since right now, any funds that went to stormwater would be taxpayer funds, not ratepayer funds. So this would just remove it from the Utility Commission until it was funded by ratepayers. That's kind of the gist of it. Did anyone have any questions or any comments or?
Does that mean later on we'll put it into utility commission, just not right now?
Right, it's just prohibiting them from taking any action on it. So they can't create a rate for it or something of that nature until.
The way it is now, there's no funds in that utility, Adam, so there's nothing the commission could do anyways without putting it back onto the taxpayers. So this just allows us to skip that step and for council to take care of it with the taxpayer money.
Is it the intent to put it back on utility?
Yeah,
Yes.
it says as soon as the referendum is passed by the electors.
Right. Yeah, the full intent is to put it back under the utility commission eventually. Right now, it just doesn't make sense to be there since if something were done with the stormwater utility, it would come from taxpayers, not from ratepayers. And it's my belief that council should have the say over where taxpayers' monies are going, not a utility. So, is everyone okay with moving that forward, or any comments or concerns? All right, then we'll put that on the next regular agenda. Next up is item number 8, the discussion of garbage and recycling contracts. So we have a few here tonight. Of course, we still have the contract from Columbia County. Joe is here from Pelletieri. He spoke to us last week. Everyone should have all the information in their packet. And then, I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Kim. Kim is here from LRS also to speak with us. I want to give you both time to talk with us tonight. Kim, we haven't heard from you yet before, so maybe if you'd like to go first, maybe if we could keep it to about 5 minutes for each of you. Oh, probably. I threw it out because I got this one.
Okay, thank you. Hello, my name is Kim Daniels, and I'm Director of Business Development for LRS. And we're very excited to provide a proposal, and I'm excited to be here this evening. A little insight about LRS. We came into the Wisconsin market 6 years ago, and we pride ourselves in providing a great customer service and local representation. Local representation would include myself, Susan, who's on our municipal team, who wasn't able to be here this evening, a local leadership, and a local customer service. And we currently service 37 municipalities in southern Wisconsin, many of them being some of your neighbors, which include the city of Juneau, the village of Marshall, the town of Beaver Dam, and the village of Johnson Creek. Each year, we look to partner with select communities as we continue to grow to make sure that we are providing the high level of customer service and service that we pride ourselves in providing. So a few highlights in our proposal is that we tried to mirror your current services for easy comparison. Of course, we can customize any changes. If there's something that you're looking for that isn't included in the proposal, we'd be happy to discuss in more detail and can likely provide any adjustment that you're looking for. We included pricing for both a 5-year and a 7-year price options for you to consider. And a few things to note with the pricing. Our bulk option does include a bulk pickup for 1 week a year in the community, which I believe is similar to what you're currently offering. There'd also be the option for residents to choose to have a special bulk pickup that they could pay, or if the community is interested in offering bulk services more often, that is something that we'd be happy to discuss too. There's also some pricing if LRS would provide the carts, or if you own your own carts and determine that. Note that if you determine that you own your own carts, that LRS would manage that cart process and there would be no additional fee for that, which isn't always the case. And finally, probably one of the largest differentiating factors with us is the fuel. With our proposal, no fuel surcharge would apply unless the Midwest diesel fuel price would be $6 or more a gallon, which fortunately hasn't happened, even with last year when there were very high fuel prices. You'll see with different offerings that there's some cases where a fuel surcharge may apply at a lower rate, in some cases $3.50 a gallon. For a matter of comparison, the current Midwest diesel fuel price is at $4.42 a gallon, and last year we saw prices for many months vary between $5 a gallon up to $5.25 a gallon. So we're excited to provide the proposal, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have now or in the future.
Awesome, thank you so much. Did anyone have any questions? We've got her here now, we're going to, oh, go ahead, Kyle.
Just a question, if there was any increases in federal or state surcharges or taxes, including tipping fees that take effect during the term of the contract, would those be passed on to the city as an adjustment to the contract price?
Yes, those would be discussed at that time, that it's not, usually the prices are built in, so that would be very rare.
Okay, so say the tipping fees, if the tipping fees in, during the term of the contract, if those increased for LRS, would that increase the rate?
Are you looking at like a disposal fee?
I'm just looking at a different contract, and basically if their tipping fees increase, they're basically saying it would pass on to our rate.
In the cases like that, our disposal costs, we plan for increases each year, and that's built into your set prices.
Okay,
So that's why the 5-year has the different rates each year, and the same with the 7-year.
okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. I don't know, I may be missing something, but you mentioned the difference in price between if we own our own containers versus you providing them. I'm only noticing one price.
I'm
in
sure
the-
that is, it is noted down below that if there is the carts. Yes, $1.10.
Oh, $1.10
That's
more
just
per,
noted separately.
okay.
So $1.10 would be taken off of that.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Any other? Go ahead.
My questions are general, not specific.
Okay. So you want to have Joe from Spare come up and talk and then?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Awesome.
Okay,
Thanks so much.
thank you.
You good. You can leave it
Okay,
on.
thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Joe.
Hi again.
Hey.
Thanks for having me again. Happy to be here. We've had hopefully plenty of time to review our proposal. Like I said, there was a lot of content to mull over, and we did have initial conversation. So I won't be long-winded in my pitch. I've already had the opportunity to give it. I did take the liberty. I found the agenda packet, so I kind of did a quick comparison. I'm not saying you don't have three very capable haulers as your option. You could have your incumbent, you have two other options, you have three very different options. You have a privately held, genuine local family-owned company with ourselves. You have another privately held, well, as they say in the first page of their proposal, it's one of the largest privately held haulers in the nation with LRS, and then you have a publicly held. So we went over the pros and cons. As I said, I'm not going to give you more of a pitch. I am happy to answer any questions that you guys may have come up with after reviewing the content of our proposal, and will stay here and make myself available to do so. I did notice, just want to point it out, because if you're looking at prices, not a lot of people have a lot of time to kind of put things together and look at averages over the terms of contracts. You obviously know what you have with Columbia County. And then I just wanted to point out, I did averages. While yes, there is a little bit of a price advantage with LRS coming in with the 5-year options, providing carts. If you go to their 7-year versus our 10-year, they're actually slightly higher, and the same with if you were to keep your carts, both options for whether it's a 5, 10, 7-year, they're also slightly higher. So taking costs into consideration, if you expounded over the fact that a majority of our municipalities go and opt into that longer-term contract for the additional cost savings. If you chose to do that with either of our companies, our price is actually just a little bit more competitive. I'm happy to provide the summary too for review if you guys would like.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Did you have a question for?
Oh, I did.
Alder Reed?
So it looks like you take the widest variety of recyclables.
Yes.
That was nice. My question for you was related to the recycling grant, and how does that work?
The recycling grant through the DNR? So that's, we have helped people that have transitioned either from a public company or who were new to residential curbside, the program, kind of give them tips on how that's facilitated. It'd be a process you would go through directly with the Wisconsin DNR. There's a certain application you have to fill out. You have to apply for, they're called responsible units. So it's basically the number of residents who take advantage of curbside recycling. And then based off that number and their approval, you get a set amount for having responsible units who do recycle. Having an expanded list of recyclables above and beyond what's required by the DNR helps. But it's something we'd be happy to kind of either get you in touch with people who've gone through the process similarly, or give you information that we know that would help out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, Alderreed, the big thing there is we would be able to apply and qualify for them, whereas with Columbia County, we cannot. That's the big difference.
That's a possibility.
Not a guarantee, it's a possibility. Alder Albright?
So my question is, so you have there's a line in here that says an annual charge for a second trash or recycling cart as $99 annually, and that's the cost to the resident. So are you doing it by address then? And like if we have a condo and somebody's two different addresses, and there wouldn't be an extra charge for that scenario? Or there would be?
So it's
one building, two addresses.
Right. So if it's one building, two address, it's billed directly to the resident. The resident would actually have to contact us to set up delivery and payment, and they're billed once annually. Let's say that resident sells their property and they still have those carts. Whoever buys the property, if they say they don't need both carts, we'd happy to pick them up and remove billing. They wouldn't get charged for them. So that's just something that doesn't have to be facilitated through the city. They would just contract directly with us for it. With you having weekly recycling, though, chances are you probably don't have many residents with multiple carts. Probably very few, but it is an option.
Thank you. Any other questions or anything for Joe Elise?
I just had a couple.
Oh, go ahead, Con.
Just the same question about, say, the tipping fees. Does that get passed on? If your tipping fees go up, does that get passed on to the ratepayers?
So it's not uncommon verbiage to see within a contract, just because we can't control. So you will notice within our clarifications page, we do it's pretty standard boilerplate verbiage. So our quote includes current landfill taxes and surcharges as of January 1st of this year. And it does say that we can be reimbursed for additional expenses created by any new or amended laws, statutes, or ordinances, and any new or increased environmental taxes or fees, required mandatory collection and or disposal or refuse, or increased rates by the landfill or MRF. We own our MRF, so we kind of know what our rates are. But I couldn't tell you the last time. We haven't been spot on with our rates for Dane County landfill, which is where we would haul your stuff. So we haven't had to really, it's got to be in there to protect us, because we don't control what happens there, but we haven't had to leverage that.
Okay. And then I know the county took out the bulk curbside annual bulk collection. Do you offer in yours an annual collection day for bulk items throughout the community?
We didn't do it as part of our proposal, but the nice thing about this not being a formal process is if that's something you guys desire, we could always give you what a rate would be. Typically, what we do is it's a per truck hour rate plus tonnage. But the other thing that I will tell you is that doing away with that program sometimes isn't the worst thing, because every resident ends up paying for it, whether they use it or not, where we find a lot of people who start with that program, or a lot of municipalities that do, go with our pay-as-you-throw model, because then you're only paying for it if you use it, and they'll pay for an item and they'll have it picked up next time our truck's in the area, and then it's gone, and their neighbor's not helping subsidize that.
So with something like that, would an individual resident be able to call you and say that they needed large item pickup?
Correct. So they would, and we have a large item bulk pickup table. It's got price per item. They would contact us, put in a ticket with customer service. We always do tell them if it happens to disappear off your curb, if you call us before we send the truck, we will credit you back. We will not charge you. But if our truck makes the trip and then realizes there's nothing there, unfortunately, we at least have to pay for the trip. But we try to be fair, and we always offer alternatives. I hear Facebook Market page mentioned 100 times a day from customer service. You ever see if you can get away for free? Or, but yes, if people desire, we will send a truck out to pick it up.
Awesome. That's good to know. I honestly think that's probably, in my opinion, better than a scheduled large item pickup, because then it could happen at any time. And like you mentioned, it's not subsidized by the people not using the service. I like that model better personally. Did you have anything more, Kyle?
Just that the LRS rates included that, so if we were going to go away from it, that may reduce the rate.
Okay, and that's fair. Thank you. Any other questions for Joe? Awesome. Thank you so much for coming back.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So then we have of course, the county, Pelletieri, and LRS to choose from to move forward with. Go ahead, Aldereen.
Oh, thank you. My first question is for Kyle. Did you find out if we own the carts, since that makes a difference?
I don't believe we own the carts. I haven't got a rock-solid answer, but I know in other situations, I think the Steiners had a situation and the county came and got their cart when they had too many carts, and when carts break, we don't replace them.
They replace them.
They replace them, so I think the county probably owns them. That's my best guess.
That was my feeling that, because they replace them, that they are the ones in charge of them. That makes a bit of a price difference. So it would be $2 more a month for Pelletieri, assuming we don't have the carts, and then also about $2 more for LRS, which may or may not make a big difference. Do we have any idea what bulk options are available with the county this year going forward if we were to go that route?
They didn't offer it in their contract. They didn't mention it. It was pointed out as we were kind of looking at the differences that it just disappeared. So I'm not sure if they would offer it as a contract option or not. Their representative is gone for the next couple days, so I can check back later this week and see what the options are. The other option, again, would be the potential to pay for the carts and purchase them using one-time funding of some sort, ARPA funding or something like that, to lower that rate, or do the upfront purchase and then receive the funding back from the garbage rates over time.
And then my other question, county-wise, is how would the surcharge work, assuming it's likely to be over $4 a gallon, whether it's 50 cents or $1? Would we be charged for the actual amount? I'm assuming it would come to probably 2 to 5 cents a week if it was $1 extra.
Yeah, I have not gotten a lot of clarity on the county surcharge. That's something that we can try to get a more detailed chart. I think these proposals have a pretty detailed chart of how they apply it, and credits and expenses. The county is more that there will be a surcharge, and we've never had to experience it yet, even though the language is in there. So I guess we're not really clear what the plan would be, or what rates trigger it, and what level they apply it at. So there's some mystery there yet on what that would be. The other proposal is 3 pages long, and that's it.
And do we have any idea how much carts would cost, either for the side of purchasing them or for if a cart gets damaged or disappears?
I don't, but I'm thinking that there's at least 2 experts in the room that have a pretty good idea.
Right. How much would it cost per cart, Joe? Do you know?
So, are you talking about if it gets damaged and needs to be replaced?
Right.
So, there's different scenarios. If the cart's damaged during operation, then we would obviously replace it because it was done by our doing.
If a resident were to throw hot ashes in a car and it goes boom and melts, then I believe the average cost for a set of carts spitballing is $75, which seems to be fair. One thing I will just chime in on is that the reason we tend to offer a price model with providing all new carts and just starting over and managing that inventory or taking over managing your current inventory is because we have found most recently within the past few years with all the changes going on in the industry with haulers buying other haulers and the mishmash of carts out there. Sometimes the new hauler or the old hauler isn't interested in putting the labor forth to go pick up these carts that have been in the community for 7, 8 years, even though there's probably plenty of life still left in them. No sense in getting rid of carts that can still be used, but that's time and labor on their part, and they may not have another use for them. So it's always worth asking, would you be willing to let us keep the carts? And if so, what would that price tag look like? And we would be happy to service them, take over management of inventory, and then replace them as
Thank you, Joe. And I saw you were nodding your head quite a bit, basically same answer.
Just, industry, how we handle it ourselves, yes.
Okay, perfect. Does that kind of help a little bit? Fair. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so actually, so we have our carts and you guys have your equipment. Are we sure that our carts, the carts that we currently use, would work with your equipment? Do we know that, or?
They are pretty standard.
Okay.
For the rolled out carts, the only difference would be some of them have a metal bar and some of them don't. Our benefit is that we don't use the fork model, we use claw model.
Mm-hmm.
So that metal bar, whether it's there or not, makes no difference to us because we grab it with claws.
Okay. I actually had another question for Kyle then, too. So the dumpster at DPW, will we continue to have some kind of dumpster sitting there for people to get rid of beds and TVs or whatever they can use, whatever they put in that?
That's the intent, either to have it at DPW or potentially at the recycling center. Just to have some place that people can, pay to drop something off. I know it's in the LRS proposal, but I think if you don't offer some place for people to get rid of things, they're still going to get rid of them and we'll still be throwing them away, but it's going to be out of a ditch or somewhere else. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? I mean, I think we have a difficult choice, in my opinion, because we have 3 good viable options as far as I'm concerned. As far as price goes, the county is the cheapest on the surface, not necessarily the cheapest overall, but that's impossible to say whether or not they are. Because with LRS or Pelletieri, we could potentially qualify for grants, and the county's increases for like gas and things of that nature are really unknown. So they look cheaper on paper, but they aren't necessarily, is kind of what I'm getting at. What differentiates Pelletieri and LRS to me is, one, Pelletieri is a locally owned company, and they also offer the widest range of recycling. And that's something that I personally really like, that more things that are in our recycling bins will actually get recycled with Pelletieri than our other options. That's my 2 cents. Any other thoughts? Because we kind of have to go one direction or another of what we want to move forward. Go ahead.
I kind of agree with you. I like Pelletieri. They are locally owned. I like to support, local businesses. LRS has a good proposal. It has a lot of the services that we already currently have. Pelletieri does have the better recycling, and like I said, I like local. I like the privatization business as opposed to Columbia County, which Columbia County has been great to us. You can't argue that. We've had some issues, and they've cleared it up really quick, and they're right over in Portage. But I think Pelletieri is a pretty good option to go with, and they have pretty good prices and competitiveness. So,
thank you, Alder Steiner. Oh, go ahead, Alder Motive.
I'm feeling along the same line. I'm feeling like Pelletieri is a better long-term option for the city. and will provide better long-term pricing.
Thank you, Aldermotive. Any other, go ahead, Alder Reed.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm still so on the fence between Columbia County and Pelletier. I like the, excellent service we've received with Columbia County and the lower, at least on the surface price. For Pelletier, oh goodness, the increased recycling is so tempting. I don't know.
And it is a tough choice. Go ahead, Alder Steiner.
The other thing about the privatized company is the grants. I think is a really big benefit there that we can't get with Columbia County.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's not a guarantee, but it is something
possibility
likely
is good.
to happen.
It's pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not difficult to get, and most communities that participate in this get it. And I'm sure with either of the private providers that we would be able to get that. It's a routine thing.
Right, yeah, so it's most likely a scenario with LRS or Pelletier. We just can't say 100% it's going to happen, but most likely it will, and that really closes the gap in pricing. It's also, I really prefer that both Pelletier and LRS are much more transparent with their pricing. And that is a big pro for me as well. Did you have anything else, Alder Steiner?
No, sorry.
No, it's all good. Any other thoughts? So, go ahead.
So I'm personally on the fence with either, I'm not disagreeing that maybe getting away from Columbia County might be the right thing. But as far as between the two companies, I could go either way.
I understand that they are super close, and that's where my personal opinion is with Pelletier, just because it's a smaller locally owned company and they recycle more. Like if we're going to pay for recycling, I would like to know that the more of our things are actually getting recycled, is kind of where I'm coming from there. Oh, go ahead.
But would you have the option to provide updated pricing to take out the annual, the 1 week, a year bulk pickup, so you can have that to consider?
Okay, that's true. So that would potentially lower LRS.
Extra time to think about this too.
And that's also true. We don't have to make a decision right now. So what is the council thinking? Would you like to see more updated pricing from as much as we can get and bring this back to the next committee of the whole? Go ahead, Kyle.
So could we kind of suggest some common terms for them, like some common timelines you'd like them to both present, and then no bulk pickup, it sounds like is the common thing. I'd see 5 years. I don't know if we want a 7 or a 10, just so that it was kind of tough when one has 5 and 7, the other has 5 and 10. It's, it's kind of difficult, and it sounds like we do not own the carts, so all the rates should reflect that we don't own the carts.
Unless we can keep them, as Joe suggested. So can we find that out before the next meeting?
I can ask.
We can try, yeah. That's a difficult one to guarantee, but yeah, it would be nice to try to see if we can keep them. Go ahead, Joe.
So, I had concerns after providing I was very respectful of the timeline and the ask for us to provide our best foot forward by the January 17th meeting. Our prices, to be honest, are not going to change. We are genuinely family-owned and operated. We only have, it's not a race to the bottom for us. We fall back on our quality service that we provide, and we have to do so putting our best foot forward. I don't think it's going to swing it really one way or another by either doing a bulk side program or not. Our pricing was public knowledge after that meeting, and this has kind of become a habit where we have been undercut on price when opportunity is given, which is kind of the disadvantage to us of not having a formal process, because it's kind of, let's throw something they can't resist at them, so that we just look that great. We don't have the benefit of having investors, that we are a race to the bottom company that we can give unsustainable pricing. So I would say best and final offer is what we put together, because that's the best we can offer. So if you would like to give them another opportunity to undercut the price, that's totally on you. I just feel like kind of, it's an integrity thing.
Thank you, Joe. Go ahead, Kyle.
And so just to discuss the process, so, the council understands kind of the process. We contacted different providers and asked them to provide us proposals. The Pelletieri came in like 3 o'clock or so on Tuesday afternoon. It didn't hit the packet. It wasn't included in the public packet. It wasn't available on the website for anyone, but it certainly was, distributed among the council members, and it was public knowledge or available that way. And then LRS did provide basically a proposal based on the Columbia County contract, which is, was certainly public knowledge, and they hit some of those terms off of the Columbia County with like the bulk pickup once a year and things like that. The county contract where it lists, the number of dumpsters we have and things like that. So now they're both, being considered, but it is apples to apples or apples to oranges kind of thing because they're on different terms. So it is, potentially an integrity thing, but I also don't think it's fair to LRS because there was no formal process to say because, they didn't respond on Monday at 3 o'clock that they somehow did something wrong because that wasn't a deadline that we set out there.
Right. Yeah, and I totally understand the thoughts on both of that. It is not the most fortunate thing, and honestly, this all came about because Columbia County gave us basically an ultimatum, which is also not the most regular or fortunate thing in our thing. But we definitely have to go with the will of the council of what they want to do.
May I
If you
ask
want
a
to see,
question?
go ahead.
Are we all in agreement, for the most part, that it's down to 2 contracts, not 3? Okay.
For me, I'm at 2.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
at 2 as well.
And so you two are deciding between Pelletieri and LRS, basically?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, so basically, we just need to decide what we're going to do then. So this does, I believe we have a few different opinions on council right now. So I think this one, I will take a motion to how we want to bring this forward. So if anyone wants to construct something of what they would like.
I would like to have it on the cow once more. I don't feel like we're quite ready.
I will second that. I think we need a cooling down period and some time to think about it.
Okay, so I will take that as a motion to table until our next committee of the whole from Alder Reed and a second from Alder Albright. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of tabling until the next committee of the whole?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so we will table this until the next committee of the whole. And thank you guys so much for being here. Then, next up is to convene to closed session per 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investment of public funds, or conducting other public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, specifically to discuss potential developments in the city of Columbus, TIF 6, and updates on parcel 1090.001, 1090.B20190.C, and 1400 Park Avenue.
Alder Motif will make a motion to move to closed session per 19851E.
Alder Wilkie will second.
I have a motion from Alder Motif and a second from Alder Rolke. Could you take a roll call for us, please, Pat?
Arnold?
Aye.
Gray?
Aye.
Motive?
Aye.
Reed?
Aye.
Rolke?
Aye.
Steiner? Albright?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, Thank you, everyone. We will not be coming back on air to make any decisions tonight, so thank you for coming. Have a good night.